Hello everybody, how are you today? My name is Patrick Mollins and I'm with Research in Motion. I apologize ahead of time, I've been losing my voice, so if I crackle in and out, take a drink of water, just bear with me. I'm a developer evangelist here at Research in Motion, and I'm coming from product management. So I used to be the product manager for a couple of our developer platforms, developer tools. I was the product manager for our native SDK and our Air SDK. I inherited the Air SDK recently, so I didn't do a lot of work on it. I know some of the answers, but the native SDK I spent quite a bit of time on, and we produced that that came out in October. And so you can actually see that my focus is developer support and getting applications onto the platform. We honestly believe that the more applications we can get there, the more interest we're going to drive to the playbook, and I focus specifically on the playbook. See that the session today is called, if I'm cutting out, I apologize. The session today is called Porting to BlackBerry 10. So I'll give you a kind of a rundown of what BlackBerry 10 is, or BB10. BB10 is the evolution of our tablet OS. Our tablet OS right now is at 2.0. The 2.0 is coming out February, and over the year you'll see us more and more turn that tablet OS into the branding of BlackBerry 10. With BB10, we plan on hybridizing and standardizing the handsets with the playbooks. And the playbooks, I hope everybody knows what a playbook is. Playbook is our 7-inch tablet. And we plan on being able to provide one developer experience and one user experience that's handset-based and playbook-based. Lou's going around right now. Lou's our director of developer marketing, and he's basically going to do a draw for a few playbooks at the end. Also, if anybody's interested, we're giving away free passes to our DevCon Europe. If there are any Europeans in attendance, or anybody who plans on making it to Europe, we can give you free passes to DevCon Europe as well. So why develop for BlackBerry? You can pick up any tech blog, you can pick up any newspaper, pick up any popular media these days, and they are beating the drum saying that we are dead. I'll let you know that we're not dead. We have a very vibrant ecosystem. We are looking at ways of increasing and improving our market share here in the United States, but elsewhere, the rest of the world over. As you'll see through some of the data that I have on the slides, that we have a very, very rich user base, a very profitable place for developers to be, and a growing market share worldwide. Recently, we've been, RIM is quiet. We have a problem where we don't go out and tell people stuff, right? We just do our own thing, and then we kind of inadvertently expect people to buy our applications and buy our products. And for the most part, they do. But we've been spending a lot of time the last 2 years really building out what we consider to be the foundations of the best-in-class platform. Starting with a few years ago, when the Torch device came out, we named it the Torch because we bought Torch Mobile, the WebKit experts. They provided more source code to the WebKit platform than any other company worldwide. So in effect, you could say that we're the ones now who own the WebKit space. We have all the top minds that did the work to build WebKit working here at Research in Motion, BlackBerry. From the platform side, QNX. QNX has been a world-known embedded OS platform for a long time. BlackBerry purchased them. They're in Ottawa, Canada, where I'm located. Research in Motion, or BlackBerry, has a very large office in Ottawa, and it just makes sense. The QNX operating system is what's powering the playbook. It's the future, and as I was saying before, you can think of BlackBerry 10, tablet OS, as being the same thing. Well, QNX, when we refer to the BlackBerry space, you can think of it as the same thing. TAT, or TAT, the Astonishing Tribe. The Astonishing Tribe is a group of very talented individuals in Europe that are masters at UX and UI design. Over the years, you've likely heard and you've likely seen BlackBerry's tiny little cramped space, not the most attractive UI framework to begin with, blue buttons, kind of oval. Well, TAT is going to change all that. TAT is going to show us and show the world how to really develop user-engaging applications. And we're in the process right now of coming out with a toolkit that's going to stand over top of our native SDK to be able to provide developers the ability to create very rich and engaging applications. As well, we've got a bunch of other pieces that we've used. So for web development, we've bought a company called Tiny Hippos, and they allow us to do some rapid prototyping for HTML5 based development. ce-ml-mea, app distribution, allowing us to be able to get apps into more countries than any other any other vendor worldwide. We have more carriers. Dash navigation gives us our geolocation, turn-by-turn use. Basically, we've got a built-in GPS system you can use. Gist, Tungle, and Scoreloop, all fulfilling the social side. More specifically, what I know about is the social gaming side, Scoreloop. Scoreloop is known within the gaming community as being the de facto standard for sharing your stats, your scores, your challenges, and your achievements. And we recently purchased them. The Scoreloop SDK is in its secondary beta. Right now, that went out in December. It's going gold this February. Ubidex, device management. I'm not going to talk too much about Ubidex because that's going more into the enterprise side. Certicom for encryption. On to the next slide here. Global opportunity. There's 165 million BlackBerry users, or BlackBerry phones shipped. 40% of subscriber rate, 40% growth over the last year. We have 70 million plus users daily. 625 carriers. We're into more carriers than any other manufacturer of handsets. So over and above, iOS, Android, even if you want to split it up by like the Android manufacturers, HTC, Samsung, we're into more carriers. Obviously, one of the Fortune 100's fastest growing companies, and we have 50 million plus active BBM users. The fact that we have so many is what made the problems we had this past fall seem so important. We had a bit of a crash this year, and that's problematic, I guess. But it's the first crash we've ever had in 20 years. 20 years of having an operating system, we've never had our network go down like that. So opportunity and reach. You may not know it, but we were the ones who started the app game. We didn't have app worlds. We allowed developers to publish, create, and push applications out all on their own. So since the dawn of time, since we first started making BlackBerries, we've had application developers, some of them doing very, very well for themselves. We have 46,000 plus apps in BlackBerry App World, and you'll see in a moment, while it doesn't compete as far as numbers with some of the other marketplaces, what that does is it drives more revenue to the developers. The people who are doing development are making more money. A billion plus downloads to date, 5 million downloads per day, $140 million downloads per month. We also have carrier billing. We're aware that developers need to make money, right? The reason why developers are making applications is not to help me sell more BlackBerries, but it's so that you as developers can make more money, can have your own business, or, sorry, put that in my pocket. It's embarrassing. So we offer also carrier billing, and 75% of the world uses prepaid. I know here in North America, we all have contracts, and these very large contracts, but carrier billing is important. It allows you as developers to get paid from the carriers, and that for users to pay directly to the carriers with a billing system that's already set up in place. You see, we shipped 52 million units this year in 2011, the year that people believe that we are not doing well. Our stock price doesn't reflect it, but we have 52 million users, 52 million devices sold this year. The average BlackBerry app generates 43% more daily downloads than an iOS version of the same app, 48% more downloads than the Android version of that same app. Our users download quite a bit. We have a very prolific user base, and what that means is we have user base that has more money. The average BlackBerry user spends more money on the platform than the average iOS user. So here we see BlackBerry developers make more money than iOS, Android developers. A stat that's not there is that 13% of all BlackBerry developers, or BlackBerry publishers, let's say, 13% make more than $100,000 a year. On iOS, less than 1% make $1,000. So if it's 13% that I can make $100,000 a year, I'm going to be targeting this platform. We have people who buy applications on our platform. So there's 500,000 plus apps in the Apple App Store, 250 in the Android Store. After you subtract the duplicates and get the uniques, I'm not sure how many solitaire games we need. I'm not sure how many Sudoku games we need. I'm not sure how many tip calculators we need. Once you get down to the core apps, you only have about 30,000, right? And then there's the top 100. The top 100 get used, right? There's stats we've been able to collect. 43% of the time on Android, people are using the top 10% of the apps, right? The rest of them, top 10%, if we take top 10% of the Android market share, that's 25,000 apps. What's happening to the other 225,000? You asked me today if you're going to develop an application. I'll tell you, you know what? You better come up with a really great idea. A really great idea. So that's what I want to do. So I want to be able to tell people what they can do and how they can do it. I know our APIs. I know what developers want to do. I know the tooling that we have. And so I want to challenge all of you at this stage that if you have a developer meetup, or if you have a mobile Monday, or if you have even the smallest of shows, if you've got 4 people, 10 people, call me, email me, I'll come, right? I'll come, I'll talk to you developers. If you've got a company and you've got 20 mobile developers and you're loud, the guy who's in the room is the loudest engineer you've got. He says, nobody's buying BlackBerry apps. Let me talk to him. I'll come down and talk to him. Give him a presentation, show him our tools. So developing BlackBerry, making money, all right? We've got a lot of different ways that you can develop for BlackBerry. We are really getting behind the idea of HTML5. We were one of the first players in the game with WebWorks. WebWorks, while it's the worst name possible in my mind, but it's the name for our framework. It's for our developer framework for HTML5. WebWorks allows developers to write their UI in HTML5, CSS, and JavaScript, and using JavaScript to call out through Java native extensions to the platform on the handset. On the playbook, it allows developers to use JavaScript to call out to Air native extensions. So you get the HTML5, CSS, JavaScript to do all the light work and the pretty front end. And then you've got you've got the power of WebWorks and Air underneath to be able to do all the heavy lifting, right? So you separate it. It's just like using a DLL. We're going back to the days of not having these monolithic apps and going back to the idea of using services and libraries on board to allow you to just create better and better apps. We've got C++, the Cascades, the NDK, the native SDK. That's what I just finished working on, was the native SDK. And that's been able to allow us to get a ton of really great games on the playbook. The thing just screams. If you do get a chance to win one today, hope you go on board and you download, just play Need for Speed, that's a preload. And after that, buy Spider-Man. Spider-Man's a phenomenal game for $4.99. There's a ton of great games. Something that we're doing as well, and something that we've done, is we've partnered with Unity and Marmalade. And when I say partner, we mean in the loosest sense of the word. Basically, we've allowed them to have our signing and authoring tools so that you can publish directly from their tooling and create archives or BlackBerry file formats that you can then submit to our stores, our app world, so that you can then start selling games. So if you're already a game developer and you're creating applications in Unity or Marmalade, then just exporting to our format, you're already there. So here's our platform overview. We've got a platform full of powerful APIs. HTML5, WebWorks, C++, Cascades. Cascades is that stuff that I was telling you about that's coming from the TAT team, right? So this is a markup-based UI creation. So you use markup languages to create the UI framework. From there, it's powered by Qt Core underneath to be able to provide you all the platform library services you need. And beneath that is our powerful API set that comes for accessing things like sensors, file systems, USB ports, that sort of thing on the playbook. Some of the more app world stats we've seen there. A couple years ago, we coined this idea of super apps. And the idea of a super app is that whenever you're on the BlackBerry, we have these context-sensitive menus, and these context-sensitive menus allow you to do something. So, for instance, the first super app that we ever had was the PayPal account, the PayPal application. From any contact, from anywhere on your BlackBerry, if you had the PayPal application installed, you just select a contact, hit the BlackBerry menu, and select send that person money. You send money from your contact list. You don't have to fire up an application. We've always had multitasking on our platform, and do so. That means we've always got apps running in the background, and we do so very, very efficiently. One of the core things of BlackBerries is that we're conscious of battery life. Now, we likely all have decent phones in our pockets, and we know that, we get a day's charge, right? These big, beautiful screens, these 3G radios, 4G radios, and then you get into these big metal boxes where it's just stealing signal power. Well, we're always conscious of that, and we've been able to provide a platform from the beginning until right now using full multitasking and still being very battery conscious. So as a developer, you have the ability to integrate the services and applications you create so that your users get a better experience on our platform. Right? The BlackBerry experience becomes one that you can share across your application and other people's applications so that you feel more unified on our platform. When you create an app, right? I work the developers booth, I work the developer shows, and you create an app, and the moment someone leaves your application, you're now giving their attention back to the operating system, to whatever theme pack they've got installed, to whatever application they're going to use next. On the BlackBerry platform, you always have access to them because they are always interacting with your stuff. If you build a super app, you have the ability to build content that allows them to stay connected to you. So I might go in here. There we go. So Marmalade, as I talked about before, it's a developer tool. I focus on gaming. So Marmalade and Unity are the next two slides. But they allow you to work the way you already work. If you've built a 3D game in the past, if you've used C++, then you can just use Marmalade and use their tooling. Export to us, publish to our app world, and start making money. Unity, along the same ways. They have something a little bit different, where they've got this package called Union, and Union is their way of sponsoring up-and-coming game developers. And they've got to create your application, create a profile, and just start selling. That's how they work. So you create a profile on their site, and through their Union system, they'll publish your app for you. They're very, very developer-focused. At Game Developer Conference last year, they were the darlings of the show. They had the biggest booth. Working the show and having people come up to me, I realized at that point in time we needed to get involved with Unity. Everybody came up to us and said, I'm doing work with Unity. I'm going to be doing work with Unity. I really like the tools that Unity have. Are you guys integrated? We took that, we listened to the developers, and we worked with Unity to get on board with them. That's something I can say is that we are very developer focused. Effectively, if I had any more business cards, and I'm all out because I've been giving them out, but take my contact information down. If you've got questions, if your developers back at HQ have got questions, somebody you know down the street is working on an application and they want to know why they would ever go to BlackBerry, tell them to call me, tell them to email me. Again, I'll show up wherever you guys are. And that's basically it. We are here. We're not going anywhere. We have a ton of great ideas coming. And I just hope that everybody stays tuned. Again, if you're developing and you want to make some money, our platform is doing very, very well. So if there's any questions, scream up. Yes, sir. Yeah, I can talk about that. Sure. So there was a lot of speculation that we were going to put Android on the playbook. And a lot of people, a lot of tech bloggers, well-known writers, said without a doubt Android was going to be the application platform of choice on the playbook. We can say that they were part right, but what we've actually done is we've built a virtual machine. We've taken the Android runtime and put it on the playbook so that Android developers can take their applications that they've built, and providing they're not doing any native calls, and they're not using any Google functionality, right? So Google Mail integration, Google Maps integration more than calling out to a web page, or they're not doing, there's a couple other things that are very, very specific to the Android platform that's Google specific. As long as you're not doing that, you can take your Android app, run it through our tooling, take that APK, run it through our tooling, sign it, create a bar file, put it on our app store, and it would be the Tablet OS 2.0 that comes out on February 17th. You'll be able to run those applications on our platform. Well, the reason why you wouldn't want to do that is because it doesn't give you the full experience. We don't have 100% API compatibility. That is not our design, that's not our premier development package, but it's an option for those who have already created an Android application that is successful and they want to ramp up under our platform, start making some money, and realize how great our platform really is. So it's an enabler, it's not a solution. Any other questions? Okay. So, yeah, Flash has decided to say they're not going to be on mobile device. They're not going to support for mobile devices. But the way our partnership with Adobe works is that there will always be Flash on our platform. Right? So the way Flash works on our platform is we have the Air runtime built right into the operating system. So we use that Air runtime to be able to generate the Flash. So as long as they keep creating Air, we will have Flash on our platform. If you've used the playbook, you can go to any website and watch any videos and never see that little Lego block saying that you don't have the plugin installed. Right? We have a full web experience on our playbook. Right? The browsing experience is phenomenal. Sure, you occasionally get a site that's not coded all that well, or it's trying to detect a mobile browser and it's shoehorning you into something you don't want to do. But you get a phenomenal web experience. It's gotten to the point now, I've been running 2.0 on my playbook for a while, and it's got to the point now that I'm trying to travel without my laptop. I'm trying to use it as my primary travel device. And in this new role, I'm going to be on the road 75% of the time. And if I can succeed in making sure that I'm using my playbook as my only real computer, that paired with my BlackBerry, I think that the guys who have built the playbook have done a phenomenal job. Yes, sir. Maybe. That market is not one that I'm really all that familiar with. I can tell you this. What's that? With BB10. Yeah, so it'll depend on each manufacturer's implementation of how they're using QNX. To give you a little bit of history of the story of how QNX works, they were an embedded operating system company. They have done a lot of work with almost every manufacturer of vehicle out there. They were acquired by Harman Kardon a few years back, and then Harman sold them off and sold them back to us, or sold the company to us. They actually don't even publish all the manufacturers that they work with. If you've gone by to see the Porsche car this year, and last year was the Corvette, these are just initiatives that we do to show off how cool our devices are and how cool our platform is. They are creating probably the best embedded operating system that's ever been made. It's small, it's lightweight, it's efficient. It can run anything from, it could run in this, or it could run your microwave, or it could run your car. So the levels of integration are yet to be seen. Yeah, back in the first.
What kind of UI toolkit do I have? If I'm on the C++ side, for example.
Okay. So the UI toolkit for the C++ is going to be the Cascades. That's going into beta very, very shortly, and it should be released this spring. So that's Cascades. If you were really looking to do an application built in C++ at the moment, you could always create your UI framework in Air and then call out through Air to native extensions. Those native extensions would be C++ wrappers, or C++ code that you'd write. Very, very shortly, we'll also have the same ability to do the same thing with WebWorks. So you create an HTML5 application and use JavaScript to call out to the native side as well. So Cascades itself is a markup language. It hasn't been fully named yet. It's going to be based somewhat on the old TAT stuff that they had, and a little bit on QML. QML coming from the Qt core, right? Or the Qt framework. For Qt, we're not doing the full Qt stack. We're only using the Qt core. So that gives us collections, that gives us math libraries, that gives us the standard stuff you'd look for as far as an application programmer, over and above what you get from a POSIX-C implementation, right? It gives you better especially for math stuff and string manipulation, right? We all know string manipulation in C is about as atrocious as it can get. So, you had a question, sir? So with on the 7.0 devices, on these devices, we will have mobile hotspot. But be aware with mobile hotspot on our, but that's just using it as a modem throughput. For connection, we are sticking with Bluetooth. And if you're having issues with it, 2.0 brings a ton of new fixes to the BlackBerry bridge. And it works very, very well these days. The date I've heard is February 17th. And that'll get pushed down. If you have a playbook right now, you will have seen already in the past that we pushed down notifications of new downloads. So you'll get a little splat in the top right-hand corner saying you've got a new operating system ready. Yes, sir.
As a developer, when we do have new applications and stuff like that, and
Yep.
make sure BlackBerry's included in this infrastructure anyways, what would you recommend as a starting language project type?
WebWorks.
With the vision that it goes on multiple platforms too.
Even though I just came off the native SDK, for application developers, I really believe in HTML5. So go with HTML5. I honestly believe that going forward, we're going to see more and more HTML content. The more, as we get to see 4G radios, and we all start having basically what's equivalent to, broadband modems in our pockets. The reliance on apps that bring a customized and a smaller footprint experience on the device, I think we're going to start to see that go back to the web a little bit. And those who are embracing those technologies are going to have the jump on those who don't. So there'll always be room for app development, but there's also going to be room for web development. And by getting started with the web technologies now, I think it's a great idea. Is there another question? I think there was another one here, was there? Okay. I haven't tried jQuery mobile though, but I do know that we've worked with jQuery to make sure that our HTML5 or WebWorks works great with jQuery. We work with them. And who are the other guys? Essentia. Yeah, Essentia. No, anything pre 6.0 is not going to be. It doesn't make use of the Torch Media, the WebKit browser. So 6.0 is really. 5.0 we had the WebKit browser in 5.0, but the best experience is 6.0 and beyond. Yes, you can. Yep. For those who didn't hear the question, if you create an application, can you set the minimum system requirements for your device? And you can. And what ends up happening is that when you go in and browse from a device, you only actually see the ones that are available for your device. So if you've ever been with a friend and they've had an app on their BlackBerry and you can't get it on your BlackBerry, you can't figure out why, and you've got a newer device, it's because that application developer hasn't ported it to your device yet. I have 24 seconds. So this is my first presentation, actually. This is the first time I've done stand-up for this thing, so thank you. First of many, I guess. Get somebody else to pick, so I'm not.
Or you pick the first one, then
All right.
we'll get
I'm taking from the top, so.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good job.
Not the top now. Not from the top. Paula McCoy. All right, Paula, you get to pick next. So you'll need Wi-Fi when you first boot it up because it's going to ask you to do the out-of-box experience. And what it's going to do is make sure you get the newest load on there. And the other thing is it's going to ask you to set up a BlackBerry ID. And BlackBerry ID is basically just use your whatever email you check the most often. That way you won't forget it. And BlackBerry ID is how we tie your personality with your device so that if you ever lose it and you get another one, all your settings come back. You're welcome. Don Barry. I left a device in a taxi cab this week. So it's my second device I've lost in 6 months. Is it you?
One more.
What's that? Good for you. Don Barry. No, I'm kidding. Carlos? Enjoy. Again, if you guys are doing developer meetups, let me know. For all our developer meetups, I'll make sure to bring more BlackBerry playbooks. All right. Thanks, guys.